All right, what's up guys? So what's going on? We just got over that, what, Eta was the name of that kind of tropical storm hurricane they kind of had in our path here in Florida, and we got really lucky. We didn't have any wind damage here on the farm. We had a ton of rain though, and what that rain has done, it's actually brought those red ants into my barn here, our shipping house. So I've reset out the stations, and I just happened to have Ken here today making a delivery, and got a couple of good subjects to make some new videos for you on today, and kind of talk about setting up the perimeter, what I should have been doing inside this building. I was kind of doing things a little bit wrong myself, how we're going to be changing that, where we're going to be moving these traps to. You guys ready for Mr. Ken? The Ant-Man. Hold on. All right, Mr. Ant-Man, you're back.
Hi, Pete. Good to see you. And to be back with you today. Yeah, we had Etta down in Sarasota, of course, and now it worked its way up here. We got a little more wind and rain. But what you're having here today is a scenario that a lot of people get into their homes annually. So let's just cover it for a moment. There's an ant here in this country that came from South America, around 1900, called the red imported fire ant. And the red imported fire ant is the ultimate fire ant. All right, that's the ant that causes about 20,000 people to go to the emergency room every year, about 40 deaths in this country every year. It's in the South through Texas all the way. It's in California, but it's really not doing well in California because there's a much greater ant presence there with the Argentine ant, which is keeping it out. It's in little spotty areas, but it's the ant you see like over here on the ground. This is a small mound being created, and there's 5 different to 6 with the queen, different sizes of ants, but the red imported fire ant is a real bad actor. And what's happened here with Pete is he's had the ants on open ground. As we get into the shorter photo period with the weather change, and I guess we're going in the 70s tomorrow, Pete, the ants have created mounds out in the open because they bring their brood up from about 6 feet down in the ground from all the different chambers to incubate them. So this is a fire ant mound right here that's been created recently. And this is the mound here, but this goes maybe 6 feet down with numerous rooms and channels.
Why don't you wake them up, Ken? Let's see if we get these guys talking.
You want to wake them?
Let's wake them.
We'll wake them.
Wake the beast.
So you'll see that there's a whole variety of sizes of them, and all of them can carry a pretty good punch. They actually can cause people to have coronary issues, so it's not something you want to stand still when you're on an ant mound. But what happened in Pete's situation, and this happens with people's homes also, when all the rain comes, the ants go inside. They can't live and stay inside, but they're moving. They'll even move sand and everything and try and create a nest inside. And this barn right here is sort of like Pete's playroom. It's where he exercises and does all his due diligence that he does that we already know about. And you can see along the wall here where they've actually brought dirt and tried to mound it up against the concrete. And there's several mounds that have moved in around here because they kept wanting to move to higher ground. And of course, when you build a building, whether it's your home, hospital, whatever, it goes on higher ground. And so the ants moved in, and people go in, they don't see them in the less light. And one of the mistakes that Pete made was he put his bait dispensers, and they're dispensers because the ants activate them and feed 360 degrees. And then they fill up the social stomach and go back and feed their queen's nursery because they're able to feed up to 12 ants at a time. But he put the dispensers inside, which is like saying, come on in, free food. All right? So you want to repel boarders inside, invite them to feed outside. Over here, turn around, Pete, and you can see there's another one that's right under the edge here. And this is a fairly huge one. This is all fresh, disturbed ground. And you probably, the average small red imported fire ant nest will hold up to a couple 100,000. I'd say you're getting up into the 500,000 per nest scenario here. So
does that mean we have a strong population, Mr.
Yeah,
Ken?
that means you have a strong population.
That's not a good problem.
So going to higher ground with the dispensers, you can see this one's just inside. Didn't actually work out as a good idea. What you want to do is repel boarders inside. And one of the tricks that I've told people about, you need to do it carefully, but I see people try and use Windex, ammonia, other things to kill bugs. It isn't about killing ants. Ants have an exoskeleton, and on the exoskeleton is a waxy membrane. And embedded in that waxy membrane are like hair filaments, which are actually for spatial orientation. there's nerve endings connected through that waxy membrane. So when you take a mist bottle and you put like 40 to 60% white vinegar in it and fill it with water and shake it, you lightly mist these ants. One, they're creating a recruitment trail to where they're going to tell the other ants to follow them. They found something good. They're trying to create a nest, or they've got food sources. In this case, they found a couple food sources inside, so they moved right in. And if we go around, we'll find they're inside everywhere. And so the real trick in this type of scenario is to repel them inside, is to mist the ants and where they're trailing in with the vinegar and water. Shake it, mist them lightly, let the vinegar burn those hair follicle spots where the nerve endings are. So that's going to cause them to put out an alarm pheromone. They're going to tell the other ants not to go there. Now, over the years, back when I was actively in pest management, we'd have, after a lot of rain, we'd have a situation where red-ported fire ants would be under someone's living room carpet. And yet there was no lump in the carpet the day before. And yet they'd bring the sand and everything in. Keeping in mind that you've got 500,000 workers, they can move a lot of sand, okay? Just get them working for you, not against you. The same thing applies with air conditioning ducts. They'll move into an air conditioning intake duct. You won't even know they're there, and then someone's sitting in their chair at night. They love skin. Skin like mine as you age, they love to go after the proteins. They're both carbohydrate and protein feeders. So, but the main thing is they do have a social stomach. They fill it with liquids and they go back and feed the queen so we can take them out. But we need to feed them outside to draw them out, and at the same time repel them inside. So, any questions about that so far, Pete?
No, I think I figured out where I messed up.
Yeah, okay, well, it really is one of those things that kind of progresses because we react to something one thing at a time. And I do the same thing, okay? Give me a picture and I can put together a present at Christmas. So I'll read the instructions later.
I think the little pro tip in itself with the vinegar would have helped me rather than putting extra stations inside the building.
Well, yeah, but we're looking to destroy the population. In this case, this is a population. The farther up in Florida you go, the population gets greater and greater. I always check the counts at the different road stops on the highway.
So I think a good thing for people, Ken, would be, let's pretend that this is my house.
Right.
And let's say I'm on a little tiny lot line and, maybe the property goes 20 foot around this building all ways.
Right.
And I can only afford 2 traps or 4 traps. Where are those traps best suited on my property?
For general ants, okay, always think in terms of the north side as your weakest Achilles heel, because the north side, ants do not like being out in full sun. Remember, when they're putting their nest in the sun, the nest is in the sun because they're bringing their brood up to incubate them, if I didn't mention that before. Okay, as we get into cooler weather, they want to accelerate the population growth. This is a tropical ant. So they're changing with the photoperiod and the temperatures. In this type of scenario, in most cases in communities and houses or where we do condos, you think north, south, east, west, but north is always your weak point and water source areas. Ants are always going to where water sources are. So those are the 2 main things. If you can only do 2 areas first, pick the areas that are most active with the least amount of sunshine. Now, I said for the fire ants, the red-ported fire ants specifically, that they nest out in the open, but their foragers have about 120, 30-foot range in foraging. So if you put a bait dispenser right where the ant nest is, they're going to think you're doing something invasive to them. You want them to go out and actually find the food source. That's their job. That you want things to be normal for them, not Abby, as in Frankenstein and Stein, normal, okay? So move the dispensers out, hit them with the vinegar and water inside, and I'd say tomorrow morning you'll be in great shape and you'll be able to go back and do your diligence again.
Awesome. All right, guys, so I came into the shipping house and I noticed trails running all the way across the building. Like Ken said, we've had a couple of stations here on the outside of the building, but all of that rain pushed them inside of the building. What I should have done was went and got the vinegar, kind of pressured them to move back outside the building and not filled more traps and added them here on the inside. So here I was filling traps, and I think I got one over here, I got one over there, and I got one over by the back door, thinking that would have fixed the problem, but really spraying them with the vinegar, putting the trap to the outside, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put more traps around the outside. So even though this is only like a 1,600 square foot building, what do I have, like 8 traps here, Ken? So we're trapped up.
More.
Yeah.
Because you have nests up near the building, and they're huge ones, I put some maybe within 15 feet away from them, because those are your sources right there, those 2 huge nests. There's probably another one right there.
Yep.
You probably need 4 or 5 dispensers out here, then move them back out among your nursery stuff. Always create a buffer zone away from something, because it's the foraging range of the ant that matters. If I forage out 100 feet, create a circle 100 feet. Think of the 100 feet as a radius. So I'm foraging out 200 feet from the nest, all right, in all directions. So we want to be able to put units out that are out working in your garden and around this building, but you're just going to speed it up to get the population down around here by putting a few more dispensers. I don't even think it'll make that much of a difference.
Gotcha.
4 or 6 dispensers, get rid of them and get them back out protecting your plants.
All right, guys, so Ken's timing couldn't have been any better here. I gotta be honest with you, I was just in this building 2 days ago when I noticed the problem. I was sitting down doing some paperwork, and I should almost give you some B-roll of my ankles because they are just completely covered. I bet you I have 15 to 20 whiteheads on my ankles right now from ant bites, and I gotta be honest with you, there's nothing that bothers me more than ant bites. These things are definitely frustrating. They hurt, and they're just a pain in the butt. Not only do these guys get, a problem with the pests around here, with my plants around here, they affect us too. So ants are definitely pissing everybody off around the farm. Ken's timing was just perfect. He's actually just making us a delivery today. And for those that don't know, those ant stations are actually made right here in Pasco County. That's where Ken has his mold. That's where those things are getting made. And he was just down doing some work at the warehouse and brought me a case, came to refill us on some bait. So thanks for dropping in, Ken. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to check out the ant stations, links will be in the description down below, or head over to the website. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. What do we do around here? We kill ants, pound dirt. Have a good one.